you want to know all about Harbour View in Suffolk? Well, that's what we're talking about today, and we're starting right now. Hey, my name is Sam Sansalone and I'm a real estate agent in Hampton Roads, Virginia. And if it's your first time here, welcome. Hit the subscribe button, hit that bell notification too. And because I do videos every week, every Wednesday, talking about real estate in Hampton Roads in general. And if you're planning on moving here, you're planning on coming here at any time in the future, you're researching this area, and you have more questions to ask me, please let me know. I drop my contact information in the description, and so you can ask me anything you'd like, call me, email me, Facebook message me, whatever's best for you, and I would love to help you. Well, today we're talking about Harbour View, which is an area in the northeastern side of Suffolk. Now, I talked about Suffolk in my pros and cons video of Suffolk I did a little while back. I'll throw it up here. I talked about different sections of Suffolk and the pros and cons of each one. Well, today we're talking about Harbour View, which is in the northeastern section of Suffolk. Now, this is a totally different total vibe and area than the rest of Suffolk. And today we're going to talk about all the things that make Harbour View very, very unique. It's a very highly desired area in Suffolk. And we'll go into, of course, where it is, the types of real estate and neighborhoods in Harbour View, as well as the prices and shopping, grocery stores, school districts, and just things to do in the area. Of course, we'll throw in a little bit of history about Harbour View too. Well, first, where is this area of Harbour View in Suffolk? Well, on the map, you'll see on the northeastern side of the city in Suffolk, just near the Monitor-Merrimack Bridge Tunnel, is this section right near the shore called Harbour View. Now, Harbour View itself, you call it proper Harbour View, is on the western side of that 664 road, just close to the shore. However, if you go just outside of that area and circle around where those areas now near Shoulders Hill, that road goes east and west, and just below that, and to the east of all that as well. That is the kind of the general broader area that you could say is Harbour View. I'm including that in this video because the specific Harbour View area has a general name that people recognize. But if people want to live close to Harbour View but don't want to pay the prices that you might have to pay to be right in Harbour View, I included some other areas to give you some ideas in case you want to move somewhere close to this area, but not just in that area itself. Now, the whole general Harbour View area is pretty close to some things. Like, for instance, you're only 10-ish minutes from Newport News. You can take the tunnel up to the Monitor-Merrimack Bridge Tunnel through there, and you're in Newport News in Hampton 10-12 minutes or so. Though, if you go down to Chesapeake and to Virginia Beach or Norfolk, there's an interstate 664 that goes all the way to, connects to 64 and goes all the way around like a horseshoe through Chesapeake and up to Norfolk and Virginia Beach. Well, that area, it takes you about 30 to 35 minutes or so to get to maybe the intersection of Norfolk and Virginia Beach. And that also is not a toll road, so you can get all the way over there without paying any extra money. However, from Harbour View, there's a road called Route 164 that goes all the way through Portsmouth and into Norfolk. That road between Suffolk and Norfolk, it only takes you about 15 to 17 minutes to get to downtown Norfolk from there to the tunnel. The idea is that even though you're in the northeastern side of Suffolk, which in a sense is far away from Virginia Beach and Chesapeake and Norfolk, the roads that are connecting to Harbour View can make it easier to get to the rest of the south side. The difference is that if you want to get there quicker, you often have to go through a toll to get to those areas. The positive thing is here that while you're further away than like living in Virginia Beach and in South Chesapeake, for instance, you still are not too far away to where you can't get somewhere reasonably quickly. But I'd say this is the closest point to the rest of the south side that still feels like you're kind of in the country and a little bit farther away. Now, the history behind Harbour View. The Monitor-Merrimack Bridge Tunnel. This is the tunnel that was built not too long ago in 1992. The Monitor and the Merrimack were two ships in the Civil War, in the pretty famous Battle of Hampton Roads in the Civil War. So that's why it's named Monitor-Merrimack Bridge Tunnel. But let's talk more about the Harbour View area itself. There's an area called Pig Point, which kind of takes up a lot of the Harbour View, northwestern side of Harbour View. And on that point was the location of a famous battle in the Civil War, when the Union was trying to come on shore and take over the Confederates on that shore. So that's where the battle was held. It was called the Battle of Pig Point. It was on June the 5th, 1861. Now, if you look on the aerial view of that section, you look on the far west side of Harbour View, you see that little thing that sticks out. That's like the snout of the pig. And so if you look overhead, it's kind of got the shape of a pig or pig head, which is why it's called Pig Point. Now, real estate in Harbour View. So just the general background of Suffolk, before the year 1995 to 2000, this was still a lot of country rural area that was just starting to develop. So you'll see neighborhoods built in the 50s, 60s, 70s, and 80s for the most part, sprinkled around in this area near Shoulders Hill Road, for instance. And that was just about all that there was. But in the mid-2000s, areas in northeast Suffolk off of a street called College Drive developed. One of those areas was called Burbage Grant, which has all kinds of neighborhoods in there. Some that were larger, 2,500, 3,000 square feet and up near water, and then other smaller condos that are more for, those startup homes as well. So they have a bunch of different types of areas in there, but it's a large, real quiet area on the northeastern side of Harbour View. But if you go west of there, as businesses were developing, more land was being built up, new construction, lots of new homes that started in the $350 range, but now are up in $500,000. And some new construction now near the water are upwards of $700,000, and some even up to $1 million and higher if you get right on the water. Places in what's called Bennett's Creek, those new construction homes were developed. And they even started in the mid-90s for the most part, but then in the 2000s, 2005, 2010, more condos were built and larger houses, 2,000, 3,000 square feet and higher than that. So as you walk down Bennett's Creek, I used to run a lot in Bennett's Creek with a real good friend of mine. We ran through these neighborhoods a lot, and you'd see different types, different styles, and it's real close to an area called Bennett's Creek Park. If you're looking to move into this area, you don't have to live in Harbour View, in the actual Harbour View, to get somewhere close to Harbour View. Because the idea of in Harbour View is you're paying more per square foot, generally speaking. But if you go down into like that Bennett's Creek area, down near Shoulders Hill, you might find there's some new construction down there. You get some good value and a real nice, good size house for the price. But you can still get some affordable housing close to Harbour View. Places like Wynnewood, Huntersville, which is a small neighborhood that's mostly older homes, but has been, in a sense, redeveloped slowly as builders would build individual homes in the neighborhood. Armistead Forest, Nansemond Shores, these are all neighborhoods that have a lot of single-family brick-style ranch houses in those 50s, 60s, and 70s. But then as you get into the more 90s, 2000s time period, you got places like I said, Burbage Grant, Steeplechase, Harbour View itself, which is one of the more expensive neighborhoods in Harbour View, Highland Green, Bennett's Creek, Riverfront, and as you go a little bit further, Bob White Landing, which has some real nice homes that are in that 400,000 up price range. But if you're looking in this area under 300,000, those homes sell pretty quickly. And on the kind of the south and southeast section of Harbour View is an area called Pewsville, which has other new construction that has been built in the last 15 to 20 years that has really done well for that person that's kind of looking for a value, looking for a bigger house, newer house, and is okay driving if they, for instance, work in Virginia Beach, Chesapeake. They're okay driving farther because they want that larger house for the same price. Those houses started originally back in the mid 200s, upper 200s. Now most of them are in the 300 to 350 up range, but it's a great start for someone who wants a larger house and a newer house, a new style. Now the school districts. There are several school districts in and around Harbour View for elementary schools and middle schools. And I'll drop links for all of these schools in their niche.com information. We got places like Florence Bowser Elementary, Driver Elementary, Creekside, which is near Bennett's Creek, JFK, Northern Shores, and Nansemond Parkway is another one. And now the middle school, there are fewer. John Yates Middle and Colonel Fred Cherry Middle are the two middle schools. And then the high school is Nansemond River. Now, one of the things about this area is you'll see that some of them aren't as highly ranked on niche.com. So do your due diligence as to determine if these schools are the areas you want to be. Now, the one private school that is most common in this area too is Nansemond Suffolk Academy, which is extremely highly ranked on most publications. This is right off of Harbour View Boulevard. Now for shopping, there are several strip malls and larger shopping areas in and around Harbour View. There are a few Harbour View, like there's Harbour View East, North, there's a bunch of directional Harbour View shopping centers. One is a pretty nice theater, the Harbour View Grand Theater right off of Harbour View Boulevard. And other strip malls one has a Kohl's, a Walmart, your typical big box stores, and one's got there's a Lidl over there as well as a Harris Teeter, and a Kroger, which is right off on the eastern side of Harbour View, one of my favorite, of all the Krogers I love, me and my wife love Kroger, but this is one of my favorite Krogers in all the area. So most of your essentials you can take care of in an easy drive north or south of this Harbour View area. However, if you want to go a little further and you don't think that what you're looking for is close by, 8 to 10 minutes, you're at Chesapeake Square Mall, and that whole Chesapeake Square Mall area. In the Western Branch area of Chesapeake, and that's kind of similar to the Greenbrier area of South Chesapeake. You've seen my Greenbrier video as well, so to kind of give you some context of what that area looks like. Total side note, there are a couple nice hospitals here too. One which is an emergency hospital, Centera, and also Bon Secours. And also some things to do. There are 3 golf courses in and around Harbour View. Riverfront, which is a great one, Sleepy Hole and Cedar Point, as well as that Bennis Creek Park I talked about has an 18-hole disc golf course. And also some businesses that are here too. The one I'll mention is Town Bank. They've developed a lot of property in this area, as well as places like Cisco, and I mentioned too, Amazon bought property just south of Harbour View. So if Amazon does build in the land that they just purchased in Suffolk, just south of Harbour View, and you're moving here because you're working at Amazon, this might be a good place for you to check out this whole Harbour View area. Now, some cons to living in this area. Well, one is the real estate prices are relatively high. They start in the low 200s, but to get something like 2,000 square feet, newer, 3,000 square feet, you're gonna usually talk in the low 300s to start. It easily quickly goes up to 400,000, 500,000, and if you're close to the proper Harbour View area, you could be up in $600,000 and $700,000 as well, and especially near the water where you're getting closer to $1 million. Though, like I said, it doesn't mean you can't find affordable properties in here. It just means that they're few and far between. The neighborhoods exist, but they're not as frequent as the new construction. And if you're looking for maybe something more in the starter home type of thing, you might be interested in some of the condos near Bennis Creek, as well as up near Harbour View, because you can get something a little more entry level and a little bit cheaper, considering a lot of them do have condo and or association fees. And another thing is it's not central, you know, so if you tell someone from Virginia Beach you live in Suffolk, they associate Suffolk with real far out, which it is far out, but it's not as far as other places in Suffolk. Even still, it can still take, 30 to 35 minutes on a real good day to get to any part of the South Chesapeake area or close to Virginia Beach. It's more closer to 35, 40 minutes to be safe, especially if you hit traffic. It can be way more than that. You might have a little bit more driving unless you keep your living area close to Harbour View and close to Chesapeake and Western Branch. But I will mention again, if you're willing to do the toll and get to Norfolk, it'll take you 15 to 20 minutes to get to Norfolk on a good day if you're willing to go through the tunnel and the toll. Now, if you're interested in learning more about Suffolk, I did a pros and cons video of Suffolk right over here. And also, if you have questions about moving to the area or just more information about Hampton Roads, I did a video about moving to Hampton Roads here that you can click on. And I've got plenty of other videos you can check out too, and I will see you on the next video.